It's wild, man. It's good. It's a good thing. I mean, you could look at it however you want and be all negative and say, well, what are these prima donnas? They think they can just show up and get things done, and then you got to put in some ragtag lunch pail group to actually get the job done. Yeah, you could go about it that way if you wanted, but I choose to look at it and say, hey, there's a feeling in that locker room of putting rubber to the road there and saying, "Hey, we all got to pull our weight." And there's a little bit of nervousness going on. And when Mitch was gone, Tavares was gone. I think everyone just expected to get blown out there. I think it was against St. Louis, and it just didn't happen. Guys figured out a way to get that win and to play together and to spread it out. Like, we're scoring in different ways. The power play is good. The PK is good. We got depth scoring. Our defensemen are kind of shutting it down, like playing their asses off. It's a good thing, in my opinion. I have no reason to believe that that's going to change when Morgan Rielly gets back in here in the next couple games. And I'm hoping that they've learned lessons and become, comfortable with this identity of, oh yeah, this is how it works. Whatever that is to them, whatever that means to them, play that way some more and find that formula more often, and spread it around the way you have been. They've been good team wins, man, and I'm not going to say anything negative about them because they've been solid.
Is it too early to say that they've used sort of Rielly in that situation as a galvanizing moment? Like, I know I was trying to force feed that narrative when it went down, and lo and behold, they've won 4 straight games since it went down. But can you realistically, and again, you could probably speak better to this because you've been in a room where the roster looks at that and says, hey, that could be our one shining moment, our galvanizing moment to go on a long stretch. Like, I always like to compare last year to Florida, and Keith Tkachuk calls out the team, calls them soft, and then they go on this massive run. Can the Leafs really utilize something like that? Because it's short term, but it feels like it's really lit their asses here.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, that was huge news in the hockey world. That was
I
everywhere,
know.
man. I was like, holy smokes, are we dealing with a lot here right now? Because everyone was talking about it. It was huge. And I mean, I don't think you draw it up in the sense of, well, if one of our guys cross checks someone in the face and takes a 5-gamer, I really think that's going to be the spark that gets the boys going. That's not really the ideal situation, but it was what it was. Usually the Leafs are the ones getting abused, getting taken advantage of. People think they're the ones whining all the time. And this narrative was, screw you. You screwed around with us. You disrespected us. We buried your ass. We don't give a shit what the outcome is. We can do just fine without that guy because we'll rally around him and rattle off the wins exactly like they've done. And it could be a little bit of a rallying point, like a different shot of identity, because it was a different feeling in that locker room, I'm sure. We just roughed the guy up so bad, and someone did something disrespectful that we didn't like, and we went and freaking handled it absurdly, more than necessary. But we don't care. They're not used to being in that position. And I'm not saying, oh, yeah, that's what sparked them, but it might not hurt at all. It might be a different look around the locker room. It might give them a little bit more of us against the world, or a little bit more confidence, or a little bit more of, yeah, no one does screw with us like that. Like, piss on him. Good for Morgan. We'll win while he's out and wait for him to get back. And, in the meantime, guys that we've spoken of have stepped up big time. Guys are playing their first NHL games. Guys that you barely even know their name are stepping in there and contributing to wins. So it's all good, man. It's all good. It's solid team stuff that I think we've been begging for in this market. And a person could argue with me and be like, okay, Rosie, Austin Matthews has scored like 10 goals in the last 3 games. So like,
True.
relax. That's the answer to everything right there. But I think if you look at it, it's not necessarily that. They are playing well top to bottom and spreading it out, and they are 60-minute efforts. It's not sloppy, gross, high risk hockey that's getting covered up by Austin Matthews burying hat tricks. I think it's better than that.
Yeah, they're playing smart hockey. They're sort of simplifying, which I've been endorsing for the last little while. And I dare I say there's a bit of belief within that team that we can play a certain brand and win games. Like, I know they've beaten St. Louis twice in this 4-game span, but the Blues were hot before this whole stretch, right? They were playing consistent hockey, and I think they're playing more successful hockey, if that makes sense. Like, they're still making mistakes, but to me, it just seems like a team that's believing a bit more. And it's hard to say because the sample size is relatively small at 4 games, but I could foresee a moment like this really being like a rallying moment for this team where they're like, you know what? We're the Leafs. We have Austin Matthews. We have Mitch Marner. We have JT, Nylander, Rielly. like, let's go on a run. Let's get this going here, right? And again, you could speak more to it. You've been in a room, but I really feel like moments like this can ignite a team. And sometimes it may, in the grand scheme of things, feel and look small, but it really isn't. I think everything you just laid out makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to get too high. No,
Yeah,
we get low sometimes on this show, and
sure we do.
in Leafs Nation, people do, and it's usually rightfully so. And right now is a time to be optimistic and positive. And I'm not, planning parades or anything like that. But all you can ask a team to do is go in the right direction, and take care of some of the ailments that they have out on the ice during games. And I think they have been doing that, and they have been moving towards it. And are they doing it in a traditional way where, not necessarily? You got guys out, you got guys stepping up that you didn't really expect, and goaltender situations kind of, looking solid with more light at the end of the tunnel and hope on the horizon as well. So again, don't want to build mountains or anything, but I agree with you. They're looking solid in ways that I think are important, where it's 60 minutes, it's the whole team effort, it's effort that gets it done, it's attention to detail that gets it done, it's playing defense first and playing as a 20-man unit, saying we're all going to do it this way tonight, boys. And I just want them to continue on that trajectory of not giving a shit who they're playing against. I don't care if they're playing Vancouver or the Rangers or Boston or Phoenix. I don't care. Worry about yourself. Show up and do the same damn thing, and just trust in the fact that you can rattle off W's against anyone in this league. You've proven that. Worry about yourself, and, learn the lessons that you've learned throughout the season by, you can't take those nights off. You can't play fancy street hockey style of shit. You got to work together, and things will come. You'll get your points. You'll get your cookies. Everyone will chip in. Your stars will be your stars. It's just got to look a little bit more of a team first mentality, which they've been showing that lately. So you got to tip their cap to them and say, good on you. Keep going with that type of formula.
This is what William Nylander had to say after the win against St. Louis in St. Louis. We've answered the bell, and I think Mo kind of lit the fire under the team. So I think, yeah, we're battling for Mo. So there's your answer. I don't know what else he's going to say, but I think the Leafs are playing really, really well right now, and it's great to see. Make sure to check out more of our content right here on the Leafs Nation YouTube page. We got long-form interviews, we got clips, we got epic rants by Jay Rosehill. We simply have it all, and don't forget, you can find out much more at theleafsnation.com. Thanks so much for watching.